Finally tonight, he's best known for his musical roles on Broadway, but just in time for the Christmas season, my next guest will soon star in a solo stage version of one of the Gospels. The one-man play, The Gospel of John, opens in New York City at the Sheen Center on December 8th. Here to tell us all about it is the star of the show, veteran stage actor Ken Jennings, who joins us from Manhattan. Ken, a delight to have you on the program.
Nice to be here, Raymond.
Now, one of the roles you're probably best known for, the one I first saw you in, was your second Broadway role, Toby in Sweeney Todd, a role you originated. Of course, you introduced the great number, Not While I'm Around. This was early in your career. I know Sweeney was 1979. How did you get the role?
Oh, just the normal way. My agent submitted me for the audition, and I went. And I don't think I even read. I think I just sang one song for them.
Wow.
It was on a Broadway stage, so they were sitting out in the house. I didn't even know it was there. I probably sang Danny Boy because that's what I was using a lot for those auditions in those days. So, and then I called, and they said I had the show.
Wow. Now, you worked with Angela Lansbury. You went on tour later with the production and the legendary director-producer Hal Prince. What did they teach you? What did you learn at that young age about this profession, about professionalism?
Well, that was my first long run. I had never done a long run before. After that, I did a Grand Hotel in Urinetown, and they ran even longer.
Wow.
Sweeney ran a year and 4 months on Broadway and then a year on the road. What I learned most from that was, it's going to sound very, a little arcane perhaps, Raymond. I learned how to handle the vicissitudes of a long run. Wow.
Yeah.
Is that rough on an actor when you do hundreds upon hundreds of performances, 8 shows a week after week? That presents unique challenges to an actor, and I had never faced that ever before.
Tell me about that rehearsal. There's that famous story when the bridge behind you fell. What happened?
Yes, we were actually in preview performances, and it was about the... we were very early in previews, and that huge bridge, it must have weighed a ton or more. They said, you know, it suddenly collapsed, and Angela and Len, as far as I know, had just passed underneath it. And then it just fell to the floor. Now, I wasn't on stage then. Tobias was already hiding in the basement. But I do remember a friend, I have not seen her in years, Mary Pat Green, apparently, one of the actresses in the show. She said, I heard she said to the rest of the ensemble, let's try to push it out of the way. And now, of course, it was impossible to do so.
Wow.
But, you know, they were, the cast was trying to come through, you know.
Wow.
Yes, and then I think after that, then Angela's next line, I think after that, I think we continued, and Angela's next line was when she sang, nothing's gonna harm you, which, of course, got a big laugh from the audience.
Yeah, well, thank God nothing harmed them. Now, you were born, Ken, in Jersey City, New Jersey. You attended Catholic school, Catholic high school and college. How much did the faith influence your life and your work?
Now, I missed you on that. I didn't hear you.
You were born in Jersey City, New Jersey. You attended Catholic school, Catholic high school and college. How much of an influence did that Catholic culture have on your life and your work?
Oh, very much so. I mean, one of the reasons I memorized the gospel, a very basic reason, but I remember, I forget which Jesuit it was, probably in St. Peter's College. It might have been in St. Peter's Prep, though, both Jesuit schools in Jersey City. I remember might have been one of the most important councils of the Jesuits. One of the Jesuit priests or one of the scholastics said, no matter what happens in your life, never forget to pray. So I've always remembered that.
Yeah.
And that simple word of counsel, that has helped me enormously throughout my whole life.
And you started reading or carrying that little Bible with you, really, since the days of Sweeney Todd. What prompted you to start reading Scripture and memorizing it? I know it's attached to, you were fighting for visitation rights to see your son when you started studying the Gospel of John. Why? Why that Gospel?
Well, that gospel, it could have been any scripture. It was a difficult time, and thinking of what of the Jesuits' counsel, never forget to pray. Prayer can always be a good way to handle difficult times. So I thought, well, maybe I'll try to memorize the Gospel of John. Now, of course, that wasn't the only prayer in which I was engaged at that time. But I thought, well, maybe I'll try to memorize it. But when one starts a big endeavor like that, one doesn't even know if one's going to reach the end of it, you know? So I just started to memorize it as a prayer and was memorizing it very slowly and incrementally because I really had no idea if I was even going to ever complete the task of memorizing it. But it was because really of the Jesuits' counsel, never forget to pray. And since I was going through a difficult time, and I thought, well, it's a difficult time, I might as well, this can be part of my prayer life, memorizing the Gospel of John.
And you turned this into a performance. You started performing in churches, and now at the Sheen Center, it's a full-blown performance that you staged, you put together. I want to give people a little taste of the Gospel of John. Watch.
And Jesus saw Nathanael coming to him, and he said, "A true Israelite, there's nothing false in him." And Nathanael answered, How do you know me? Before Philip called you, when you were under the fig tree, I saw you. Rabbi, you are the Son of God. You're the King of Israel. You believe because I said I saw you under the fig tree. You're going to see greater things. You'll see heaven opened and the angels of God ascending and descending on the Son of Man.
Ken, in a recent interview, you said you want to tell this story with emotion and passion, but you purposefully don't present it as an actor. Why not?
Yes. Well, I thought I was very familiar with Alec McCowan's wonderful performance of the Gospel of Mark.
I saw it,
I was
yeah.
also familiar with Dean Jones's one-man show, John on the Isle of Patmos. And I thought, well, what can I do differently than this? I thought, well, it was all oral tradition, naturally, when these stories were first told. Most of the world could neither read nor write. So I thought there must have been a time when John was telling this story, as he says in his first epistle, what we saw with our eyes, what we touched with our hands. There must have been a time when John was first telling this story in a way that was not theatrical at all. He was basically saying to the listener, this is what I saw. This is what I experienced. I experienced the resurrection. I saw these things. And so he would not, John himself would not have been an actor. Naturally, when we tell stories, we remember things with emotion and passion. So that would come through. Right. But John would not have told the story as an actor would tell it because he wasn't an actor.
Right.
So I thought, that's what I will try to do. I will try to tell this story perhaps in the way John himself might have first told it to his listeners.
Now, Ken, you were on stage alone for 90 minutes of this performance of the Gospel of John. How do you keep it fresh every night, and how do you prepare?
Well, it's fairly easier to keep fresh now because don't forget, when I'm used to the Broadway shows, the rehearsal periods of Broadway shows, they can be very long and very intense. So I'm used, the Sheen has been wonderful. They've given me plenty of rehearsal, but for a Broadway show, I'd have a lot more rehearsal and many more preview performances. So right now, I still find that I'm discovering the gospel as I play it. And that, therefore, it's right now it's easy to keep fresh because I'm still in the process of discovering it, which is really wonderful. It's wonderful for me as even still a present part of my prayer life to continually discover the new layers of this gospel as I'm playing it.
Yeah, well, as someone once said, being close and being clever ain't like being true. Thank you for being true, Ken. And I can't wait to see the show, and I would encourage everybody to go see it. The Gospel of John, if you're in New York, conceived and performed by Ken Jennings. It opens December 8th. It runs through December 29th at the Sheen Center in New York City. For more information and showtimes, you can go to sheencenter.org. Ken, thanks for being here. Such an honor.
Thank you very much, Raymond.
We'll see each other soon.